Walter Brown, ELA 6th through 12th grade. Today I'd like to talk to you about the ELA 6th through 12th grade Common Core implementation that's happening in Caddo Parish. By the time we finish this presentation, you should be able to access the Caddo Common Core website, understand guidelines for developing units of your own, understand the district's intended pacing guide, and locate sample units and additional instructional resources to assist you in creating your own unit plans. The website that Caddo Parish has created is called the CaddoCommonCore.com website. On that website, you will find links to teacher toolboxes for ELA, Math, Social Studies, Science, and Literacy, as well as additional information on SPS calculators and data calculators. For this presentation, we're going to focus on the ELA teacher toolbox, dealing with 6th through 12th grades. The ELA toolbox has several columns. The first column that you will see starting with 6th grade will be for sample units and curriculum units. Those will include sample unit plans that have been created and modified by the district, as well as links to ones from the State Department of Education. You'll also see a link for instructional resources, assessment ideas, and professional development. That address is CaddoCommonCore.com. You may also access it from the Caddo Parish School Board website. Once you click on the toolbox link, you will see a page that says Learning Teacher Toolbox with an update. The sample page here I'm showing is the high school 9 through 12. Once we have this fully implemented, you will be able to go into each individual grade to look at different sample items and sample unit plans. The pacing guide that the state developed covered the year-long scope and sequence, including units 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each unit is intended to be a 9 weeks period. For grades 6 through 8, that 9 weeks period is roughly 45 days, depending on the 9 weeks. With high schools working on an AB block schedule, you have to anticipate half of that time for instruction. Therefore, when creating unit plans for high school 9 through 12, you should plan for 20 to 22 days, depending on different items and things that may come up during the school year, such as days for school pictures and professional development and other activities. On the scope and sequence, the initial for the year long, you'll see the unit that tells you the key anchor text, and then talks about the text complexity that should be increased with those texts and the related text sets. Text complexity has to deal with the level and rigor of the reading required. It can be measured in Lexile scores, also in ATOS and other scores, which we will go over a little bit later. There's also a year-long pacing guide that has been district created. On the sample here on this PowerPoint, you'll see the ELA 6th grade pacing guide. The 6th grade pacing guide, as well as 7 through 12, has a list of all the different Common Core state standards for ELA, and it has 4 columns labeled first, second, third, and fourth 9 weeks. Under each column, you will notice the letter I, a letter R, a letter P, or a letter X. The I stands for introduced, which means in this particular 9 weeks, at this particular grade level, this Common Core state standard is being introduced to the students. The R means that this standard is reinforced and retaught throughout that particular 9 weeks. P means that at that point, the student is expected to reach proficiency within that particular 9 weeks on that particular Common Core state standard. If there's an X, that means that during that particular 9 weeks, that standard will not be covered. There is a caveat I need to give here. An X does not mean that you do not teach that standard at all. It simply means that for the purposes of the unit planning, that at this particular time, that standard is not stressed. However, with the nature of ELA, the requisite skills that are needed to be able to do certain activities, you will often cover standards or have standards involved that may not be quote unquote the focus of that particular unit, but they are necessary to complete the activities. Also on this district pacing guide, you will notice highlighted columns or highlighted cells. For instance, on this page, you'll see that RL 6.1 is highlighted, as well as RL 6.2. The district is also moving toward doing benchmark exams, and each 9 weeks a benchmark exam will be administered. For the ELA, these highlighted cells let you know which standards will be covered on the benchmark assessment for that 9 weeks period. Just as with the pacing guide, that does not mean that we will not have a question that may include RL 6.3 because it wasn't highlighted the first 9 weeks. But the focus, if you will, the focus of the standards on that benchmark exam will be the ones that are highlighted. Unit plan guidelines are some simple basic guidelines to assist the teacher in creating their own unit plans. As you know, when we adopted the Common Core standards, one of the state's mandates was that districts did not prescribe and give you and tell you this is what you have to teach. But we do want to offer suggestions and samples that you can either follow to make your own unit plans, or if need be, you may pick them up and use to make your own plans. Keep that in mind. The sample unit plans created by the district are based on samples provided by the Louisiana Department of Education, and they are posted on the Common Core website, the www.cadocommoncore.com page that I mentioned earlier. All units that you create must follow the scope and sequence is posted on the Louisiana Police website. In other words, if Unit 1 covers a certain range of standards, any unit plan that you create for that first 9 weeks should cover those same range of standards. Teachers may use an alternate text set for each unit. So just because Unit 1 may use, for 8th grade, may use Flowers for Algernon, another teacher may come along and say, well, I don't want to use that particular anchor text. I want to use a different anchor text and a different anchor set, text set. That is fine. That is fine. However, you want to make sure that it has the same level of rigor and the same level of text complexity as the sample units that you're seeing on the page, on the website. Also keep in mind that each unit lasts for 1 9-week grading period. You may use the plan from the teacher toolbox on the state website for guidance in creating and using text sets, and you'll find that at the LouisianaBelieves.com website. If you click on library resources, you'll be able to find it. If you have concerns or questions, feel free to email me, Walter Brown, at wbrown@caddo.k12.la.us. Grades 6 through 10, you also have what they call the Anthology Alignment Project, which is hosted on the Edmodo program, which we'll come to a little bit later and I'll explain more for you. On that program, you will find various selections from the Holt Elements of Literature textbook, that is the adopted textbook for 6th through 8th grade, and the Glencoe Literature, the Reader's Choice textbook, which is adopted textbook for 9th through 12th grade. You can use these selections as either your anchor text or some related text for each unit. Be sure to include the elements indicated in the PARCC model content framework, such as number and kinds of text, research projects, and district benchmark assessments that will be utilized for each particular unit. You will find a link to the PARCC website on the Caddo Common Core website, as well as the Louisiana Believes website. Schools that follow an AB schedule, as I said before, will have to adjust your days allotted for teaching a unit, because if it's allotting 45 days for a unit, then you know you need to plan for between 20 to 22 days, again, according to what may come up during the school year. Also, you see a chart with the grading period and the dates for Caddo. Use those dates and the days allotted for your unit planning. On the next slide, you'll see a sample unit plan that was created by a teacher from Caddo Parish, based on the state's sample plan for the anchor text Things Fall Apart. Here you'll see the anchor text in the first column, and under that column you'll see a text complexity rationale, which basically explains why this particular text was selected. Then there's the related text, and you'll see it's divided into literary text, which is fiction, informational text, which is nonfiction, and then there's the non-print text, which you may also include, which would include media, film, video, music, art, graphics, or something from the internet or website. There's a unit focus, which basically outlines this is what the focus of this particular unit is, whether it's a culture study or looking at how culture varies and how the culture differences can affect the story or character or person. Then there's a sample research project to give students an idea, give the teacher an idea of where to take the students, or what's a good research project to have them do using these resources. Then the last long column, you see the possible Common Core state standards, and that includes reading, writing, speaking and listening, and language. And at the bottom, you see the possible teacher resources that can be utilized as well. Continuing on, you'll see this is a print version of the sample from the sample unit plan, talking about the unit focus. The first column asks you what will the students know and be able to do by the end of the unit, and then the unit focus are the big ideas of this unit. And here you have 4 key questions. Those questions will change, of course, based on your unit. Here you see an actual screenshot of the fully organized and arranged unit plan. And again, you have the unit focus, the unit assessment, and it tells you the 3 different assessments that are suggested. There's a culminating writing task, an extension task, an accompanying presentation, in which the students actually would do presentations, which would cover the speaking and listening standards. And then there's a code read assessment, which assesses whether students can read new text or unfamiliar text and apply the same level of understanding and mastery from the Common Core. So those are the 3 main assessments that you would do for each unit. And then you have the daily performance task, which is just an extended way of saying the daily activity that the students will do dealing with these texts. There are quite a few resources we have available to utilize when planning our units. The first one that I want to mention to you is called Engage New York, and you see the website here, www.engageny.org. Here you'll find sample unit plans for grades 6 through 8. They call them modules, but modules is just another way of saying unit. So when you're reading these plans, when you see module, know that that translates to unit in Caddo. You'll also be able to utilize this resource to select anchor text and gain ideas for creating new text sets. A text set includes the anchor text or the main text, and then the additional resources, the literary, short stories, works of art you may want to include, and nonfiction pieces as well. Teachers may also use this website to create assessments that are aligned to the standards and create those performance tasks or daily activities for the unit. And then you want to supplement these sample unit plans that we've created from the district and that you also receive from the State Department of Education. So Engage New York is a great resource to utilize to help enrich those plans. And here's a screenshot from Engage New York. And on this screenshot, we went to the Common Core Curriculum Assessments and we clicked on English Language Arts. And you'll see on the left side, there's a section for each grade level where they give you not just a sample model or sample unit, but they also even have a list of texts that are usable that would be appropriate for each grade level. And this, of course, is based on lake style and other quantitative measures. Another unit planning resource that we found very helpful is Achieve the Core. And that website is www.achievethecore.org. Achieve the Core is one word. Here you can also find sample lesson plans for grades 6 through 12. Strongly recommended that you utilize this resource to select or create performance tasks and daily activities for the units. You want to supplement sample unit plans created by the district, and there are great suggested activities and guides to creating text sets, aligning text with Common Core standards, and understanding text complexity. And here's a screenshot from achievethecore.org, and this particular page is dealing with the Common Core sample lessons and assessment questions. And these are core line materials for ELA and literacy, and they even have several lesson plans geared towards specific selections that include questions, sample questions, and also full assessment assignments for each of those selected texts. Also, through Achieve the Core, they have the Anthology Alignment Project for grades 6 through 10. As I mentioned earlier, this particular project aligns specific selections from Holt's Elements of Literature series and from Glencoe's Literature to Reader's Choice series, which are our two adopted texts for middle school and high school respectively. You go through Edmodo, and if you're not sure how to do it, if you go to, if you contact Christine Grimion at the Teachers Technology Center, or contact myself, contact me, Walter Brown, I'll be more than happy to help you get connected with Edmodo, and you can utilize these anthology alignment projects to pull specific selections that are already aligned with Common Core, activities are fully aligned, and you can integrate those into your unit plans. Additional resources we'll be providing will be district-wide professional development through the ELA department. We will have monthly ELA cluster meetings beginning in September. The topics will include text complexity, creating text sets, aligning text to Common Core standards, developing unit plans, assessment of the Common Core, data-driven instruction, and several others. Please contact me for dates, times, and locations. And if at your school you want a specific focused PD, job-embedded professional development, by all means, contact me and we can gear something specifically for your school or school cluster.
Hello, my name is Matthew Mitchell, and I'm the Professional Development Specialist for Secondary Math. And I'm here today to present the Secondary Math Toolbox. Basically, we created a website called Caddo Common Core that will help you as teachers implement Common Core state standards this year. The website is called CaddoCommonCore.com. You can get to it through the Caddo homepage, or you can go directly to it through www.caddocommoncore.com. Once you get to the Common Core webpage, you can access the Math Toolbox by clicking in two places designated by these arrows. Once you click there, it will take you to the toolbox where you'll be able to access relevant information that will help you plan for your school year. As you see here, under each grade, there are links to curriculum plans, instructional resources, assessments, and professional development. If you have not looked at any Common Core information thus far, I would suggest that the best place to start would be the Professional Development tab. Under this tab, it provides an overview of the Common Core state standards, how they were constructed, and expectations for implementation. Teacher leaders across the district have worked this summer to simplify these pages for your use. Next, I will visit the curriculum plans link. This link will take you to a page that can assist you in planning for the beginning of your school year. This page is being updated continually, so it's wise to check it from time to time to see if an additional information has been uploaded. As of now, for Algebra 1 and Geometry, there are updated year scope and sequences available. On the year scope and sequences, be aware the timelines are based on a 55-minute class period. The sample unit plans that are available, which you will see later, have been adjusted to the 90-minute class period that we have in our district. The documents of the potential gaps in prerequisite knowledge have also been updated, as well as the 8 math practices that we are expected to incorporate in our lessons. We have sample unit plans for Algebra 1 and Geometry, and by the time you see this DVD, sample unit plans for Algebra 2 should be added. Lastly, on this page, we have a blank unit plan template for you to be able to construct your own unit plans if you need to. The instructional resources and assessment links are all the information published by the state and the district in the teacher toolbox, but it has been organized and labeled so that it's easier to navigate for you as you plan your lessons. I've also included some additional websites that the teacher leaders have found helpful throughout this journey. These are all great links that can assist you in planning units and lessons, finding and creating student activities and tasks, and assessments. And lastly, Here are our district contact personnel. As you see, Lorene Stevens is our math supervisor K through 12. Ms. Tanya Evans is our Title I math supervisor, and myself, Matthew Mitchell, who's the professional development specialist for secondary math. And I want to give a special thank you to all the Caddo Parish teacher leaders for their hard work and dedication this summer for the teachers and students of Caddo Parish. Thanks.